Coming up next, Tùng Đắc and our IELTS On the Go journey set the very first step in Huế City. We are gonna check out the stories of learning English of the students coming from the most prestigious school here, QUадцC, High School for the Gifted. And back to the master studio with our most wanted IELTS experts from the British Council, Daniel Rowell. Don't go anywhere. Next part of the show is ready for you right now.
Hey, I love this studio. We call it the bathtub internally, but it's not really the bathtub. It's kind of like an infinity loop where we exchange a lot of IELTS tips and IELTS tricks. So thanks a lot, Dan, for being back.
Thanks. On the show. Thanks very much for having me back.
So today, in our IELTS On the Go, our musketeer or our teacher, Chương Tung, is actually going to go to Huế, which is the town of kings and queens and calmness. And let's see how the students there fare with their IELTS.
Okay.
So, guys, IELTS On the Go, over to Huế. Chương Tung, let's take it away.
Hello guys, I'm here at QUадцC High School for the Gifted, one of the most esteemed high school institutions in the country, and also one of the 3 oldest. The school was actually founded in 1896, so it is 121 years old now. And today I'm joined by some lovely company, 3 outstanding students of the school. So can you introduce a little bit about yourself, starting from the gentleman over here?
Alright, hello everyone. I am Chương City.
Well, I'm Trân Phương Thảo Ngọc and very glad to be here.
All right.
Well, hello, I am Phung Trân Hồng Nhật in the same class with those 2, a 12th grader with an English major.
All right. It's lovely to see you all here today. And the first thing that I picked up from these students' English is impeccable pronunciation. So, how do we get that?
Back when I was in grade 1, I started learning English, my mother has, given me movies and cartoons that was spoken in English, and I just watched those every day. And soon it just get into me.
All right.
Like I start speaking American accent without, knowing about it.
Yeah, without even trying, right?
Yeah.
It's the same for me. I watched like Power Rangers when I was a kid. It's an American superhero TV franchise. That's where I picked up American accent. What about you?
It was an accident. Like I found out a really amazing YouTube channel which was Anglophonia. And I loved it so much, I watched it every day. So just like her, I also try to imitate their accents and their pronunciations, and then here I am.
Is it British English?
I'm trying, thank you.
Because I picked up like, the little nuances of British English in your accent.
It's like my goal, like I want to speak British accent, but I'm trying so hard, I'm not.
All right, so you aspire to American accent and you kind of more British inclined. What about you?
I started learning English in grade 1 when my teacher made us all do pronunciation exercises, and we had to do a lot of practice for British English accent.
All right.
But when I got into grade 4 or 5, I discovered Disney Channel.
Disney Channel.
And it became my childhood. All those American movies were my life, and I started picking up American accent instead of British.
And viewers, as you can see, these guys picked up pronunciation, but not from taking classes or swatting up on textbooks, but it was more like being completely immersed in a culture where English is everything, right? And I want to talk a little bit more about vocabulary, because vocabulary is a big deal in the IELTS. And, how do you guys accumulate, words, especially difficult words, difficult to remember and retain?
Okay, I'm not the kind of person who can cram words and words and words inside my head. So I turn my passions, which is drawing, into my way of learning English vocabulary.
All right.
I just draw simple and easy to draw stick figures in order to, describe the word's meaning.
That's fascinating.
And then I just keep on learning it, like just look at it, and then after a while I make a checklist and I check out the word that I remember.
All right.
And then I just keep on learning like that.
So that's a really cool approach, all right? Blending your passion into learning vocabulary. Is it the same for you?
I'm not really. I tried so many other methods to learn vocabularies, so I end up making up the stories.
Stories?
Yeah, there will be many word vocabularies that I need to remember, and I try to make up a story as funny as possible. After I make up the stories, I will bring it to my sister and my father and my parents, who are, always listen to my stories.
Right.
So they always cheer me up, and I always feel happy because I made a story, making them laugh, and then I learn myself.
It's really cool though because what you did was essentially, you know, there was a part where you learned vocabulary by writing stories, and there's a part where you get to revise and, you know, retain these vocabulary by, recounting it, retelling it to, you know, other people. Right, so that's a really cool approach.
He can also practice his speaking skills. That was great.
Oh yeah, that's an additional benefit as well, right? What about you? How do you learn vocabulary?
Let's see, I read a book and I had my favorite characters, but I don't like how he ends up in the story.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I go on the internet and search for short stories that other fans write about him. And they put him in different settings, like if he was a politician, he was a doctor, if he was a student, and I learned vocabulary through that.
Wow.
This is my favorite character. I learned about what is around him and I won't get bored. And I read thousands of stories like that when I was in secondary school. That helps my vocab a lot.
Whoa, and then it helps your study at school as well, right? Because you get to, you know, learn about all these different knowledge that you learn about in class. Right.
Yeah, that was an additional bonus.
Yeah, and as you viewers are aware, the cool thing about IELTS On The Go is not only the stories, but also the simulation test that one of you students get to take, consisting of all 3 parts, like a real IELTS speaking exam, right? And I'm curious to know who wants to be the volunteer today. Anyone? You guys are all pointing to her.
I will.
All right, so you know, there's no choice, right? All right, break a leg, and I think I'll escort you to the exam room.
Thank you.
All right, right this way.
Bye.
Yeah, see
Good
ya.
luck, guys.